Rain poured from the dark evening sky as people hurried past the small neighborhood cafe without looking back. Inside, the smell of fresh coffee mixed with warm bread, but business had been painfully slow all week. At a corner table sat an elderly man wearing a faded coat, soaked shoes, and tired eyes. Most customers glanced at him only once before quietly choosing seats far away. Some whispered that he looked homeless. Others complained that his appearance would scare away paying customers. No one imagined that hidden beneath those worn clothes was one of the richest men in the country, a billionaire who had quietly spent years searching for something money could never buy. That night, he was not looking for luxury, respect, or admiration. He was searching for genuine kindness, and the young waitress cleaning tables had no idea that the next decision she made would change her life forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change someone's life and that every person deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional and inspiring stories that remind us humanity still exists. The waitress's name was Emma. She was only 26 years old, but life had already tested her in ways many people never experienced. Her father had passed away when she was still in college, forcing her to leave school to support her sick mother and younger brother. Every morning before sunrise, she prepared breakfast for her family, took her mother to medical appointments whenever possible, and then worked long hours at the cafe until late at night. Her paycheck barely covered rent, medicine, and groceries. There were weeks when she quietly skipped meals so her family would never have to. Yet despite carrying invisible burdens, she greeted every customer with the same gentle smile. She believed that no matter how difficult life became, people should never lose their compassion. That rainy evening had been especially difficult. The cafe owner had warned the staff that profits were falling and that layoffs might become necessary if business didn't improve soon. Emma understood exactly what losing her job would mean. It would mean unpaid bills, missed medical treatments for her mother, and uncertain days ahead. Fear settled heavily in her heart, but she refused to let customers notice. As she wiped the last empty table near the window, she noticed the elderly man sitting quietly by himself. His hands trembled from the cold. A small puddle had formed beneath his worn shoes. He carefully counted a few coins in his pocket before placing them back with obvious disappointment. Emma understood immediately. He wasn't deciding what to order. He was deciding whether he could afford anything at all. Without asking permission from her manager, she walked into the kitchen and prepared a hot bowl of homemade soup, fresh bread, and a cup of tea. She even added a slice of apple pie that had remained unsold. She carried everything to the old man's table with the same respectful smile she gave every customer. She never asked whether he could pay. She never questioned why he looked the way he did. She simply believed no one should leave hungry on such a cold night. The elderly man's tired eyes slowly filled with tears. For several long moments, he simply stared at the meal before gently placing both hands around the warm cup of tea as though trying to warm more than just his fingers. He nodded gratefully, unable to hide the emotion on his face. Emma quietly returned to work without expecting anything in return. Her manager, however, had seen everything. He rushed toward her with visible frustration, reminding her that the cafe wasn't a charity and that giving away food without permission could cost the business money they couldn't afford to lose. Other employees looked down awkwardly while customers watched the uncomfortable scene unfold. Emma apologized sincerely and offered to pay for the meal from her own paycheck. The manager reluctantly accepted, shaking his head in disappointment. Emma simply smiled. She knew money could always be earned again. Regret over refusing someone in need would stay forever. The elderly man quietly finished every bite. Before leaving, he carefully folded a small napkin and left it beneath his empty cup. He thanked Emma with a warm smile before disappearing into the rainy night. When Emma collected the dishes, she found only a short handwritten message. Kindness given without expecting reward is the rarest treasure. There was no signature. She slipped the note into her apron pocket, thinking it was simply a thoughtful gesture from a lonely stranger. What she didn't know was that dozens of hidden cameras had quietly recorded every moment inside the cafe. The elderly man was actually William Harrison, one of the nation's wealthiest entrepreneurs. After selling several successful companies, he had become famous for donating millions to hospitals, schools, and community programs. Yet years of success had taught him a painful lesson. Many people treated him well only because of his wealth. He wanted to discover whether genuine kindness still existed when no rewards were expected. For months, he had visited restaurants, hotels, stores, and cafes dressed as an ordinary struggling man. Most places ignored him. Some refused to serve him entirely. Others asked him to leave before paying customers noticed him. Emma had become the first person to simply see another human being. The next morning began like every other. Emma woke before sunrise, prepared breakfast, reminded her younger brother to study hard, kissed her mother's forehead, and headed to work, unaware that her life was about to change. When she arrived, several luxury vehicles were parked outside the cafe. Television reporters stood near the entrance while photographers adjusted their cameras. Curious neighbors gathered along the sidewalk wondering what had happened. Emma thought perhaps there had been an accident. Instead, she saw the elderly man from the previous evening stepping out of a black limousine wearing an elegant tailored suit. She froze. The same gentle eyes looked back at her. Only now, everyone around him addressed him as Mr. Harrison. The cafe owner immediately recognized the billionaire from countless magazine covers. His face turned pale as memories of the previous night's events rushed back. Employees stood speechless. William Harrison entered the cafe carrying the same folded napkin. He walked directly toward Emma. Without saying much, he thanked her publicly for treating a stranger with dignity when everyone else had judged appearances. He explained that wealth could purchase comfort, influence, and luxury, but genuine compassion remained priceless. The reporters eagerly captured every word. The cafe became completely silent. Then William revealed that Emma had unknowingly passed a kindness test he had been conducting across the country. He wasn't searching for perfect employees. He wasn't searching for talented businesspeople. He was searching for honest hearts. The cafe owner expected criticism for his behavior the previous evening. Instead, William smiled kindly and reminded everyone that businesses survive because of people who care, not only about profits but also about humanity. He announced that he would fully reimburse the cafe for every free meal Emma had ever given someone in need. The owner lowered his head, overwhelmed with guilt. But William wasn't finished. He explained that several weeks earlier he had created a charitable foundation dedicated to supporting hardworking people facing financial hardship while still helping others despite their own struggles. Emma perfectly represented everything the foundation stood for. He handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a letter offering a full scholarship to complete the university education she had sacrificed years before. Another document confirmed that every medical expense for her mother would be covered through the foundation. A third letter revealed something even more unbelievable. William invited Emma to become the director of community outreach for his charity, allowing her to continue helping families across the country while earning enough to support her own. Emma couldn't hold back her tears. For years, she had prayed only for enough strength to keep going. She had never imagined life would answer through one simple act of kindness. The emotional story spread across television channels and social media within hours. Millions watched security footage showing a young waitress serving food to an elderly stranger while expecting absolutely nothing in return. People from every background shared stories of kindness they had witnessed or received during difficult moments in their own lives. The little neighborhood cafe suddenly became famous. Customers traveled long distances simply to visit the place where compassion had changed two lives forever. The cafe owner, deeply moved by everything that happened, introduced a new tradition. Every evening, one free meal would be prepared for anyone truly in need. Employees volunteered gladly, inspired by Emma's example. Months later, Emma completed her university degree while working with Williams Foundation. She visited hospitals, shelters, schools, and struggling communities, helping thousands of families rebuild hope. She never forgot where her journey had begun or the rainy evening that changed everything. William often said that Emma had taught him an important lesson as well. He had started the kindness test believing he was searching for extraordinary people. Instead, he discovered that extraordinary hearts often belong to ordinary people quietly carrying invisible burdens. One winter afternoon, Emma returned to the cafe where everything had started. She sat by the same window where William had once appeared as a lonely stranger. Outside, another elderly man slowly walked through the rain wearing worn clothes and tired eyes. Before anyone else noticed him, a young waitress carried over a bowl of hot soup with a warm smile. Emma smiled through tears. Kindness had become contagious. Before we reach the ending, tell us in the comments, what is the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you, or what act of kindness are you most proud of giving to someone else? Your story may inspire thousands of others. As Emma watched the young waitress help the stranger without hesitation, she realized that the greatest rewards in life are rarely measured by money. They are measured by lives touched, hope restored, and hearts reminded that goodness still exists. The billionaire's wealth had changed her circumstances, but it was her own compassion that had opened the door. Had she ignored that lonely customer like everyone else, nothing extraordinary would have happened. Her future was transformed not by luck, but by a simple decision to see another human being with dignity instead of judgment. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that even the smallest act of kindness can change someone's destiny, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel, and leave a heartfelt comment below. Together, let's spread more compassion, hope, and humanity, because the world will always need people who choose kindness when no one is watching.